Hey everybody, or welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be looking at working out the highest common factor of either a pair of numbers or more, and methods that we can use to work this out, as well as problem solving questions. So let's get started. So we've got two questions here. We've got 12 and 18 and 20 and 40. So two separate questions. What I want you to do for each of these is list the factor pairs. So for example, for 12, the first factor pair would be 1 times 12. Second factor pair is 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and that's going to be it. So those are all the factor pairs of 12. Do the same for 18, and then do the same for 20 and 40. Then highlight any common factors, and then work out which is the highest common factor. So the biggest number that you see in the list that's common to both. So this is question 1 and this is question 2. Okay, pause the video if you need more time. I'm going to go through the answers now. Okay, so for 18 we know we've got 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, 4 doesn't go, 5 doesn't go, 6 is already listed, so these are all of the numbers that we want. Now it says highlight the common factors. Well, 1 is common to both, 2 is common to both, 3 is common to both, 4 isn't common, but 6 is. So that's the largest number, so it's the highest common factor because it's common to both numbers. So HCF equals 6. So highest common factor of, now we can actually write this in a nicer way. We can say HCF, and then in brackets you can list the numbers. So in this case it's 12, 18. So the highest common factor of 12 and 18 is equal to 6. Don't need to leave such a big gap there. I can just move that closer. Okay, so for the second example, if you haven't had a go, then have a go now. Pause the video, I'm going to go through this now. So for the second example, 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 3 doesn't go, so we'll leave that, 4 times 5, and then it starts to repeat. So these are the factors of 20, and now we're going to list the factors of 40. 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 3 doesn't go, 4 times 10, 5 does go, so 5 times 8, 6 doesn't go, 7 doesn't go, and 8 is already listed here. So let's highlight the common factors here. We can see a common factor is 1. Let's use it yellow. So a common factor is 1. Another common factor is 2. 4 is common factor. 5 is a common factor. 10 is a common factor, and so is 20. So from this, we can see that the highest common factor, brackets of 20 and 40, is equal to, well, we can see the biggest number that goes into both is 20. Okay, so this is called the listing method, where we list all the factors and then we work out what goes into both, and the largest one. We're also going to be looking at another way of doing this. So have a go doing the same method for these two numbers, 12 and 72. List all the factor pairs, work out the biggest factor that's common to both, and then unpause the video. Okay, so I'm going to start listing the factor pairs of 12 now. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. And then for 72, 1 times 72. So we also have 2 times 36, 3 times 24, 4 times 18, 5 doesn't go, we've got 6 times 12, and 8 times 9. And then they start to repeat. So from here we can see the factors which are common: 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12 itself. So the highest common factor here, so the highest common factor of 12 and 72 is equal to 12. Now you can see gets a bit long, especially when you have bigger numbers, and you might miss out factors, so we need a more methodical way of doing this. So we're going to look at that method now. So what I want you to do is decompose 12 and 72 into their product of primes using prime factor decomposition. And then we're going to see if we can figure out where the 12 comes from. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so I'm going to show you the answer now. So for 12, you can divide it by 2 to get 6, divide it by 2 to get 3, divide it by 3 to get 1. So 12 is equal to 2 times 2 times 3. And then for 72, we're going to divide it by 2 to get 36, divide it by 2 to get 18, divide it by 2 to get 9, divide it by 3 to get 3, divide it by 3 to get 1. So we can write 72 as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Now what you'll notice here is we're looking for the highest factor that's common. Now we know that 2 is common, we know that these two are common, and actually the 3 is also common here. So 2 times 2 times 3, whatever that gives us is going to be the highest common factor. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, just as we were expecting. So we haven't quite refined this method yet, so I'm just going to show you the final way of doing this, which is just essentially using prime factor decomposition to work out the highest common factor. So the purpose of this slide is just to show you that listing can sometimes be long, but actually this method here that I've just done is a lot quicker, a lot simpler, you're less likely to make mistakes, and you might be able to spot factors a bit quicker as well. So here's a good example of how we can work out the highest common factor of the number 36 and 126. The first thing we want to do is we want to write both numbers next to each other, and then we're going to draw the upside down bus stop here, just like this, which is already drawn for me. And what we're going to do is just pick out any factors that go into both. They don't have to be prime numbers, but I am going to stick to prime numbers just for now. So we can see they're both even, so we're just going to divide them both by 2. So this gives me 18, and then I have to half 126, which is going to be 50 plus 13, so 63. Now I draw the second bus stop here. Now I need to find a number that goes into both. Now 63 is not even, so I can't divide it by 2, but I can see I can divide both of these by 3, because 1 plus 8 is 9. Which is in the 3 times table, and 6 plus 3 is also 9, which is in the 3 times table. So 18 divided by 3 is going to give me 6. And then 63 divided by 3 is going to give me 21. I can see that these are also in the 3 times table. So divide by 3 is 2. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So these numbers here are coprime. So we need to write coprime on the side. And because they're coprime, we stop. So just to recap, coprime means the highest common factor of 2 and 7 is 1. So because they're 1, now you can see if I write 1 here, I'll just end up in a loop forever, which you don't need to do. So we don't write the 1 there, we just stop where it's 2 and 7. So the highest common factor will be the numbers which go into both 36 and 126, which are these numbers here. So we multiply these, 2 times 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18. So 18 is the highest common factor of 36 and 126. Okay, so here's a quick recap here. So find the highest common factor of 18 and 30. So you may be able to do this in your head, but we're just practicing the method. So upside down bus stop. I'm going to get you started. You can either divide by 2 or you can divide by 3. I'll let you have a go first. Pause the video. Once you have done that, check your answers by listing the factor pairs just to double check that you are correct. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go. I'm just going to quickly go through this. So I'm going to divide by 2 first to get 9. Divide by 2 is 15. I'm going to divide by 3 to get 3 and 5. These are coprime. So I need to write coprime and we need to stop. And then the highest common factor here of 18 and 30 is equal to whatever's down the side here. So 2 times 3, you multiply that, which gives us 6. And if you do the listing method, you don't have to do both in a test or in an exam unless it asks you to. For 18, 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and then for 30, 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 5 times 6. And we can see that the number which is common to both, that's the biggest one, is going to be 6. So likewise, we just label this as, we write this in the same way. HCF of 18 and 30 is 6. Right, so here's a couple of practice questions. Try the first one, draw the upside down bus stop, and then try the second one, and then I'm going to go through the answers with you. You need to state very clearly what the highest common factor is using the brackets and showing your answer. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go, and now I'm going to show you how to do this. Now 54 and 90, we can divide by 3, we can divide by 2, and actually we can divide this by 9 as well. But we're not going to do, no, we can do 9, but I'm just going to stick with prime numbers for this. You don't have to do prime numbers. This is not prime factor decomposition. So let's divide these by 2. So 54 divided by 2, so this can give you 27. 90 divided by 2 is 45. And now I know you can divide both of these by 3. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. And 45 divided by 3 is 15. We're going to divide by 3 again to get 3 and 5. These are coprime. So the highest common factor here is 2 times 3 times 3. You are meant to multiply the numbers down the side. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So the HCF of 54 and 90 is 18. Now I'm just going to do this one more time, but slightly more efficiently, just to show you that it can be done this way. So if you just rub this out, what you can do is, remember, because it's not product of primes, it's just highest common factor, we can divide by 9 straight away. In fact, you can divide by 18 straight away as well, but we're going to do 54 divided by 9. That's going to give us 6. 90 divided by 9 is 10. And then I'm going to divide by 2 to get 3 and 5. Now these are coprime. And that means 9 times 2 equals 18. That's the highest common factor. So you get the same answer. So for 32 and 80, hopefully you've had a go. If you haven't, pause the video. Now you can pick out big factors like 8 in this case, or you can break it down slowly as well. I'm going to do it the slow way here. So divide by 2 to get 16. Divide by 2 is 40. And then here we're going to divide by 2 to get 8 and 20. Divide by 2 to get 4. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Divide by 2 again to get 2 and 5. Now 2 and 5 are coprime. So we stop, and then we do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So the highest common factor of 32 and 80 is 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is going to be 16. So 16 is your highest common factor. Okay, so that's how we do this method, and I just want to make a point about the different ways we can answer questions. So here is an example of 3 different answers. There are a couple of mistakes on here that we need to look at. Actually, there are no mistakes on here. They're all correct answers. The final answer hasn't been shown though. So have a look at the 3 different ways that we've got these answers. What's the same, what's different, and then I'm going to go through the 3 different answers with you. Okay, so hopefully you've had a moment to have a look at this. Now what you're going to notice here, 2 times 3 times 3, 2 times 3 times 3, and then 9 times 2. 9 is just 3 times 3 times 2. So in all of these cases, you actually get the same value. And this is not product of primes. So the fact that there's a 9 there, which is not a prime number, doesn't actually mean it's wrong. What you may have noticed, a couple of points here. So Amira, the fact that she divided by 9 first was a bit more efficient. It was a bit quicker to get to the answer. 9 times 2 straight away, you can see it's going to be 18. So she spotted it's 54 and 90 are in the 9 times table. Nicola started by dividing by 2, which is arguably a bit easier potentially. If you're not sure about the times tables or if the numbers are unfamiliar, then just divide by 2 and then 3 and 3. Lena just noticed that they're going to 3 first. But either way, the numbers they got on the side are the same. And technically, these are the same as well, but these are just a bit more condensed. So all of these are valid methods. All of these are equally good methods. You just need to make sure that you're picking the right one that works for you. Okay, so looking at algebraic examples here, the same principles apply when you have algebra involved. So the highest common factor of ABC and A squared B. If you've been asked to work this out, all you have to do is break it down. Now you could do this in one step, but again we're just doing an example, so let's break it down slowly. So we're going to take out a factor of A first. A times something gives me ABC, well this is going to be BC, and A times something gives me A squared B. So A times A is A squared, and then A times B is AB. So we're going to now take out a second factor. Now I can see common to both BC and AB is B. I'm going to take B out, so BC divided by B is C, AB divided by B is A. Now these are technically algebraic terms, but essentially they are coprime because there's no other common factor other than 1. So you stop here, and just like before, you multiply the numbers down the side. So the highest common factor of ABC and A squared B is equal to AB. And some of you may have been able to do that in one step, and that's fine if you can. Good for you. All right, here's some practice on working out the highest common factor for each of these pairs of numbers. Try this in your books. Check your answer by either doing factor pairs or decomposing into product or primes. Okay, so pause the video and have a go, and then we're going to show you the answers. I'm not going to go through all of the questions though. So the answers are now visible on the right. Okay, I hope that was useful. Now on the next video in this playlist, we're going to look at finding highest common factor of 3 or more numbers. So watch that video if you want to look at some of the harder questions. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.